Back the artichoke. What happens when you peel back an artichoke? Anyone?
Get to the heart.
You get to the heart. See, isn't that gene? Don't anybody steal that. That's the whole heart. See, so the onion, all you do when you peel the onion back, what happens?
Cry.
You cry. So I don't want to cry. So quite genius, right? I gotta tell you, this is my life here, creating stuff with artichokes. So we really, I got some. My parents are proud. There's my boy, the artichoke guy. All right. So when you think about it, you peel this back, you get to the heart of the matter. So we're going to discuss a few different things today about public speaking. One thing for sure, there is no Q&A session, but feel free to ask any questions you want. I'm not the guy that's going to leave 15 minutes at the end of my presentation and nobody raised their hand. It's another lesson I learned. All right? You put a 45-minute talk together, and then you got 15 minutes at the end. Any questions? And then I got to tap dance for 15 minutes. So I get around that. That's how you take control of what you're going to do. So if you don't work well with Q&A, first tip, don't do it. But feel free. Just give me a nod, a wink. Raise your hand. We'll talk about anything. I know this stuff. I got this stuff down. I can help you with it. So I'm here to help you, but I need to know what you need. If you tell me what you need or you tell me what you want, I'm certain I can answer it. You know, my background, I've been in front of 6,000 audiences. Literally, this is all I've ever done in my life. Is there's a microphone, I want to help. I want to be the guy. I don't want to listen to anybody. It's the story of my life. It's my father. I never listen to anybody. I like to talk a lot. So let's get started. We're going to talk about a few different things. As you can see, my name is Tommy Hilcken, and this is challenges people have with public speaking and how to handle them. I ran out of space. I had this long, rambling thing because I'm a big fan of Monty Python, and if you ever watched Monty Python, you would know what it means. Anybody fans of Monty Python? Remember? And he went through the cave and when he died. And they had a whole argument for 10 minutes over who would write as they die. To me, genius. My favorite guys in the world. So let's talk about it. One of the main things when it comes to public speaking, why people fail at public speaking, and I would imagine this is number one. I meet a lot of people, and there's a lot of different things that come up, and I ask that question, what does public speaking do for you? Most people say nothing because I'll never do it, right? But I'm going to say this, something that I know. When I first started doing presentation skills, I got a little bit nervous about it, that with the internet and all the stuff and all the phones and everything going on, that this was going to become a lost art and nobody's going to be doing it. But I have to tell you this, keep this in mind, it's going to come full circle. Sooner or later, we're going to have to start reconnecting with people. Yeah, we're going to have to. And I'm so happy because I could do that. And I mean that. You know, I have a social media presence, I'm good at that. You know, to me that's so artificial. So think about this, people, if you're in business, people do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? So we got to build that trust with people, and we do that from, as I say, I just want to connect with human beings. I love human beings. Anybody who knows me, you know, some of my favorite things to do is just go to Central Park and people watch all day. I can sit there all day. It's fascinating. Think about it. We're all different people trying to do the same type of thing called living, right? It's nutty, right? It really is, right? And we all have a different perspective, right? We can look at the same thing and see something completely different. So I've always been fascinated. So who here likes public speaking? Okay. I'm just going to talk to you guys. That is absolutely perfect. So raise you guys, who likes public speaking? You enjoy it, everything about it? Good for you. And what don't you like about public speaking?
Get nervous. Don't think I'm going to cover all the points I don't want to make.
Nice. Nervous and you're not going to cover the points. So my goal today is to give you some tips to not be nervous and cover all your points. It's done. Write that down. Don't forget to remind me because I lived through the 70s, so it's a little rough sometimes. It's not even a joke, but it's for real. All right.
Running out of things to say?
I've never had that problem. That I can't help you with. That's never happened in my life, ever. But I'll show you what you need. If you have 30 minutes, what does it take to fill 30 minutes? I'll show you that. Remind me.
Going to bore the audience.
Well, okay. So how do we not bore an audience? Because sometimes, right, it could be the messenger or it could be the message. Right? There's two different things. So if you have a boring message, you have to liven it up. And that's why most successful people, even people who do a eulogy, right? You'll see most people will put some humor in there. You know, it's a sad, tough situation, but you need to lighten it up because that's what people need. They need to move on, so let's lighten it up. So yeah, you got to put humor in there and you got to connect with your audience so they connect. Anybody else? What holds you back from being successful at public speaking? Is it fear of failure? Does anybody have a fear of failure? So I always think about this, and I'd like to plant seeds in people's heads because I learned from the late great Zig Ziglar, and I mean, you couldn't ask for a better guy to sit down with and talk about public speaking. He may be, next to Jesus, he might be the greatest speaker ever to walk the earth, right? So when you think about it, Zig was there, and I talked to Zig about it. Fear of failure. Zig would always remind me, failure is an event. It's not a person. So you might fail at public speaking one time you go out. That doesn't make you a failure. It just means you failed at that event, and there's reason you did. You got to peel back the artichoke and find the reasons that this isn't working for you. 9 out of 10 times, I will say, the reason people fail as the messenger is because they didn't prepare. I will say the secret to success in public speaking is being prepared. Know what you're going to talk about going in. Anybody ever wing a presentation? Right? You can see people. I can pick them out. I can sit in the back and write that. I can give them a whole evaluation of what they did by watching, because most people who don't prepare will be like, and so, right? Because they're trying to think of what they're going to say as they're standing here instead of having it saved to memory. I noticed I said saved to memory. I don't memorize anything. I remember key points, and then I embellish them and I talk through it. But I don't memorize anything, because then again, it'll sound like you memorized it. So how do you make it you? So let's talk about getting through the fear. People all say all the time, they get up there, they're so scared. I've got to tell you this, what are you afraid of? Anybody here like to have conversations with people? Show of hands? All right, so everybody likes conversations. Here's a little tip to get through the fear. If you can do this one-on-one, and we could have a conversation and we could talk, right? It's a conversation. So what I learned to do when I'm doing my public speaking is this. My friend Kevin said to me, every time you go to give a speech, you get scared, you get nervous. Why don't you do this? Why don't you go out and give a talk? You can talk to anyone. So it changed my whole thinking. Instead of giving a speech, so now I just go out like I'm doing right now. I'm just talking to you guys. That's all I'm going to do. So if you go out and you're going to give a speech, get rid of it. Don't give a speech. Go out and talk to your audience about what you want to talk to them about. You're the master of your topic. You should be the guru. When you talk about leadership, you see so many people. If you know your topic, get out there and go through it and get people. Show them what you got. So let's think about this. Fear. How do we break through the fear? The answer is this: do it. The learning in public speaking, the learning is in the doing. The more you do it, the less fearful. If I was to bring you up here 3 times, first time you'd be shaken. Second time you'd get better. By the 3rd time you go, wow, it ain't so bad. And I mean that's why you got to get out and do public speaking. And it really is. It's a great way to connect with people. I enjoy it thoroughly. So anybody on fear of failure? Remember, failure is an event. It's not a person. So even if you failed at it one time, just remember you want to get better and better and better. I've seen people come up, have a presentation. I've seen comics. I saw a comic come up, give his first joke. Got nothing. Said maybe next time. Put the mic down and walked off. Oh yeah. I've seen it all. I used to go to open mics all the time in the city. It was crazy to watch. People think, oh, I'm going to be so funny, I'm going to be comic. And then they get in front of the room and they're like, oh my God, there's people here. I'm funny at home. I'm really funny at home. My wife thinks I'm funny. But now you got an audience and you open up with your first joke and it's flat. Crickets are the worst thing you could ever hear, right? So let's have that with crickets. Second part, self-doubt. Eliminate self-doubt when it comes to public speaking. This is a great confidence builder. If you're not doing public speaking, and Chris will tell you, one of my favorite things I say to everyone here, and I mean your kids, your grandkids, anybody you know, you can pass this information in. Tommy Hilcken told me this. Everybody should spend 1 year of their life in Toastmasters. Everyone. Every single person on the planet should spend 1 year of their life in Toastmasters. It'll cost you $95, $100 for the year, right? But it's the greatest organization. I spent 10 years there. Because what happens in Toastmasters is, I get up and I learn from the people doing, and then I can give back by teaching them how to do it. So it's a great cycle, and it's what everything in life should be. I learned it here, I'm going to teach you how, and boom, boom. That's what life should how great would that be? I tell people all the time, whatever I can do, let me know. I'll show you how. Great. Zig always said that. Zig always said, successful people, if you see somebody doing what you want to do, ask them how. Successful people will let you know. They'll show you how. They're not afraid. They don't live in a lack mentality. They live in an abundance mentality. And if it's an abundance, that means there's plenty for everyone, right? There's infinite. It's infinite. And we get caught up in the lack mentality. I won't do that. So if there's something I can show you or teach you, let me know. You know, I'll give you everything I got, and I mean that. Just not my customers. Thank you. I'm hanging on to those, Ted. All right. So eliminate self-doubt. Anybody? I shared the platform one time with Amanda, and her talk was, I call it stinking thinking, and I always say in the audience, you call it gremlins. I never forgot. That's your way of getting your message across. I always say, does anybody here have a little voice in their head? Anybody? Oh yeah, anybody. 3 of you, right? So the rest of you I'll just ignore. But everybody, there's a little voice in our head. Let's face it. I got to know this guy so well that I named him Norm, right? Because I talk to him a lot of times, right? He's this guy in my head that's like, I'll get up and say, you know, it's time to go to the gym and let's go get rocking at 6 a.m. And Norm will pop up and say, but there's English muffins and the coffee's still hot and the couch is over there. And I got to say, Norm, shut up, right? So there's that little voice in the head. So that self-doubt when it comes to public speaking, that's your lower power. That's that guy or that gal trying to drag you down. Step up and be confident is the only way to do this. Step up, have the courage. Does it take courage to do this? Yes, a few times along the way. Then it gets easier. You know, people always say to me, you know, do you still get nervous? And I still get nervous. Not so much as much. I get butterflies, but I learned how to make my butterflies fly in formation. I know where they are. I know how to use my butterflies. So you're going to get them. You're going to feel them. Little secret, if you're feeling nervous before you go on, anybody have an idea of what you can do when you're feeling nervous? A couple of different things. A powerful opener, right, will get you through the nerves because now you got the audience on your side and you're like, hey, all right, they're my friends. Because nobody wants to see you fail. So when you step up here, there's nobody in the audience that wants to see you. There's nobody sitting there that comes to you and goes, I can't wait to see them stumble and bumble and fail. I can't wait. That's why I'm here, right? You know, you get that sometimes in the comedy world. Like you want to see a guy's not funny, so you can boo him and hiss him and all that kind of stuff. But there's a few different things. And my friend Dave, and all these people I'm listing, Kevin, Dave, 2 Toastmasters, Zig, people who taught me what I asked them to teach me. But Dave is a world champion of public speaking in Toastmasters. An amazing, amazing guy, and he said he still gets nervous. You think about this, he went around the world and became a champion, you know, in public speaking and still gets nervous. It's got to tell you something. This is nerve-wracking. So he said to me what he always does is, if he knows he's coming up next, he goes and meditates and breathes for 5 minutes. Every speech. You'll see him. He'll be in the corner. You know Dave's going on next. He's breathing, he's exhaling, he's reading, he's building his confidence up. He's getting to be, because what this this isn't really Tommy Hilcken. You know what I mean? I developed this character. I don't go home and say to my wife, honey, what's for dinner tonight? All right, peas and carrots, fantastic, love it. You know? No, it's not who I am. This is a character. So we just like an actor, right? You develop a character. Who steps on stage? Tommy Hilcken. You mentioned earlier, you saw me speak before and I was memorable. Right? That's my job, to be memorable. That's always been my job. That's how I made my living. You know, I sell from the stage everywhere I go without people even knowing it. I want people to buy Tommy Hilcken, right? And as an entertainer, I got all my work from word of mouth. It just flowed. People saw me at a gig, and this one told that one, this one told this one, and boom, 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 and I made my living for 30 years just doing. So if you're in front, you have the opportunity to be here, make sure you get up and excel at it. Don't go up and stumble, bumble. Practice, practice, practice. One of the things I always say, practice, 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 and when you're done, what do? Practice again, right? And it's better to practice at home and get through it than it is to practice in front of an audience. So never, never do that. So eliminate the self-doubt. There's nothing to be afraid of. You know, this whole world, we were joking earlier, you know, Amanda said challenges, and I said, I think, you know, this is wisdom now. I share with Amanda, I looked at her and I said, I think life is one big challenge, and the secret is to break through it, just get through this thing, this challenge called life, right? It's like, now you have children, you got a job, you got a husband. You know, I always tell everybody, woohoo, let's have kids. Hey, okay. That changes everything, right? Yeah, I'm with you. So Cheryl and I had twins the first shot. I was 21, she was 20. Kind of shaped our life just a little bit, yeah. All right, so self-doubt. Feeling vulnerable. Now, Ted, you know me a long time, right? I had no idea what vulnerable meant. 6 years of high school, you know, so I'm like, look at me, thanks. It's not even a joke, but that's good. Steve, you getting any of this?
All of them.
All right, just checking. You're zoning out on me, dude. Stop, no answers. All right, so susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm. Right? So then I found it funny that people, these are all the reasons people don't like public speaking. Feeling vulnerable, right? And I think about it, so I didn't know what really vulnerable was. I guess it's giving yourself up, opening up, here I am. No. But then I read, susceptible to physical emotion. No one's going to attack or harm you when you're giving a presentation. So we can get rid of this one. I promise you, there's nobody sitting there with a stick waiting you to get off. A tomato. You're showing your age. You go to jail for throwing a tomato now. But back in the day, right, rotten tomatoes, everybody brought them to the plays and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but nobody's going to harm you. So get that out of your head. I promise you that everybody wants to see you succeed. They don't want to sit through a presentation where it's not good, right? And we've all been there. We've all been at a meeting where you fall asleep and, oh my goodness, why did they bring her in? Why did they bring him in? What's this all about? And the secret there is usually it's the guy or the gal has a great message, right? But the messenger is weak. So either way, think about this with yourself. When you're giving a presentation, keep that in mind. Is it my message that's weak, or is the messenger weak? And strengthen both. It's as easy as that. Any questions, comments, snide remarks? Nothing? Okay. All right. All right, so we'll get rolling again. Feeling vulnerable, unable to structure a presentation. Show of hands, which is a great way for audience participation, right? So a lot of people will say something, but here's a great way to just do it. By a show of hands is a great question if you want to connect with your audience. Just like that. By a show of hands, how many people put together presentations? Quite a few of you. Wow, that's fantastic. So you're in the right place. So you put them together, you enjoy it, you know what you're going to talk about. So how do you put your presentation? I'm going to tell you how I do mine. Because I always talk about me so I can teach you how I do it. Sometimes I have to give 60-minute keynotes. And I have to tell you, I do not have the ability to remember anything for 60 minutes. I don't. I can't read a book. I read a book for 3 pages. I got to go back and start over again because I have no idea what I read 3 pages ago. It's just not how I am just a creative to the ultimate. I mean, everything just goes in here. A book is not coming through here. I tried it many, many times. That's not how I learn. So when it comes down to a structuring a presentation, what I do is I put my title of my presentation together. So one way to look at it is 7 things you should know about public speaking. Boy, does that make your life a little easier right there. 7 things you should know about home health care, right? Then you write it down, and what happens is, so now you come in, you've got 7 things you're going to talk about, and that's it. You're not going to wander off it. That's what I'm giving today. I'm going to show you 7 things you should know, right? And it makes life a little easier, because what do? Instead of really worrying about it, you write your presentation out, then you take your bullet points, 7 bullet points, and you just remember the bullet point, and you talk about that bullet point. So for me, if I can do a 60-minute presentation, I'll put together 10 5-minute presentations. I'll break down my speech into 50 minutes because it'll go a little longer naturally. And don't forget that too is, while you're interacting, time starts to fly and you could lose yourself and somebody asks a question. So always put that in. But I always give 10 5-minute presentations in and out so I remember what I'm going to talk about. Because I don't have the ability to do an hour. It doesn't stick in here. What's that? 30. 30 minutes. Oh, shoot. I'm doing good. I'm right on time.
Just letting you know.
That's very good. Nice. I'm getting yelled at already. This should work. All right. So any questions on putting a presentation together? Always start with your title because it's fun. Yes?
Do you put images that make you recall the bullet points that you want to talk about? Because that's what I do, and it helps really, really well.
I don't worry about that. I present off of what I see, and then it clicks up here. So I really don't need anything except if you would just shout out to me, structure of presentation, I would go from there. Mm-hmm. That's how I work. The visuals are more for people because we think in pictures, right? Most people think in pictures, so if they see a picture, they'll remember the picture. Because I think it's probably about 7% of what you say people will remember, right? So the secret is to deliver 1 or 2 golden nuggets. I used to not want to go to presentations of other people anymore, and my friend Cheryl said to me, Tommy, every time I go to a presentation, I go home with 1 or 2 nuggets. And I said, that's a good way to think about it. So I'm going to sit there for an hour, but I'll get something that I could apply to my business. But visuals are good. They really are. And see, I just go and I find, I like to play. This is where I waste my time, making presentations. Pixabay, Pixabay, Pixabay.com. Great free site for pictures if you need them. All free downloads. Pixabay. Chris, question?
So are you using these slides as your speaking points, as like your bullet points?
These are my bullet points for today. Yeah.
So that when you go to your next slide, you know what your next topic is. So they're great for us, but they're also good for you.
Oh yeah. Well, the only thing you don't want to do is, I always say, PowerPoint, right? Think about it. Break it down to this. It's to make a powerful point. Nothing more, nothing less. There shouldn't be 50, 60 words on it. It's to make a powerful point. That hit me one day because I was training guys who were in the investment field, investment bankers, and they were going to talk to their, what do you call the guys who back them, who pay for them? They're investors, right? So they all come up and this guy's got spreadsheets on his PowerPoint. I go, dude. He goes, oh, they'll have this in front of them. I said, but that means nothing. You know, this is what they're going to be looking at, and he had all these numbers. So then what we decided, because it was like a battle, you know, for me to get them to change their points. And I said, what you need to do is take a key point on that Excel sheet, circle it in yellow so you can talk about it. Maybe it's the bottom line, or maybe it's where you started, but something. So we had a nice even negotiation on it. Because nobody's going to read it, nobody's going to see it, it's all going to be confusing. And once an audience gets confused, they're gone. That's it. You cannot lose your audience. You can't. Now, if you're going up there and you're looking for investors and you just start talking, they're gone, right? You got to hit them with something that they need to hear and want to hear. So yes, this is my bullet points. This is how I use it, like this. Next one, fear of being judged. Does anybody have a fear of being judged? Honestly, yes you do. Yes you do, right? Okay, good, right? You guess what? Am I being judged right now? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, thumbs up to head. Oh, whoa.
I just wanted to make sure it worked.
Yeah, it works. Now, think about it. Here's the secret to that. Every time you stand in front of people, anytime you go somewhere, you're being judged. It could be what you're wearing, combing your hair. I got plastic hair, as my grandson says. I have no idea. It's the Aquanet. It's my wife's Aquanet. Aquanet? Aquanet, sir? Yeah.
Not using any.
Yeah, but you know it. Yeah, that's what happened. So when you think about it, we are being judged at all times, so why not be your personal best? If you're going to fear being judged, go out there and, as I would say, just kick a little ass, right? Judge me for that. Judge me for how good I am. Judge me how I excel at public speaking. Judge me for that. So don't go in with a weakness, go in with a strength. Yeah, I'm here and I should be here. This is where I belong. I should be teaching you about public speaking, right? Or whatever it is you do. You need to have the confidence in who you are and what you do. And many of you may be in business for yourself. If you don't have confidence in you, your business isn't going to have confidence in you, right? Zig's famous line, you have to be before you can do. You got to do before you can have, right? So most people know what they want to have, but the being drives the doing. So think about it when I say, why did I tell everybody to go to Toastmasters for 1 year? It just builds the confidence in you as a being. Because the being drives the doing. So you'll be looking at your business and saying, what's going on? My business isn't doing well. Well, you might just want to look in the mirror and say, you're fired. Because many times, 30 years I've been in business for myself. I should have fired myself many times. I get it. Yeah, so true, right? You know, everybody's entrepreneur, solopreneur. My goal was to be self-employed. That's what we called it 30 years ago. Oh, he's self-employed. So I guess I'm some sort of preneur, whatever you want to call me. Geniuspreneur, that would work. Use that. Thank you, Steve. All right. So if you feel like you're being judged, remember you are. Perfectionism, expecting too much of yourself. Any perfectionists out there? Oh, wow. Oh, I should have talked slower. Now I found my crowd. It took me 5 slides. That was the most hands that went up, by the way. So all you perfectionists, is this for marketing purposes, Marco?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just checking.
For you and Chris.
Nice.
I'm working for you guys.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'm not paying you. You're working for Chris. Brand Tommy Hilcken. Right? Imagine that.